Good morning, everybody. Here we are yet again, the amazing Maamer Shiur. We are learning Vayishlach Yeshua, which is called Garments of the Soul by the Chassidic Heritage Series. A huge thank you to Kahas for all their hard work translating and giving us Maamer. So here we are. We just finished the section, the Ice Hay, the 5th chapter. And we spoke a lot about this concept. Well, in the 4th chapter, we spoke about the fact that as much as you're getting my kids a cappella. So we spoke about in the 4th chapter, we spoke about the fact that as much as us in our level to hopefully to acquire the level of Beinanim, so we're working towards Beinanim, that in reality, fighting our emotions in of themselves just by attacking, so to speak, or getting into the emotions by themselves may not necessarily be the most productive approach, because in reality, the full control, the conquership, the full control of your emotions really is a level of tzaddik, and so therefore it doesn't really make sense to just fight our emotions. So we spoke about the fact that as Beinanim, as working towards being Beinanim, we have absolute control over our thoughts, and again, they are constantly running. We can change that. Over our speech and over our actions, and we have that control over that. And so it's seemingly by the end of that section, by the end of that chapter, we said, one second, so just, if you're in a bad mood or something's not going so well, just go, make sure to think different thoughts, make sure to make different choices about your actions, and make sure to speak differently. So it's like, okay, just don't even worry about your action, don't even worry about your emotions. That said, the next chapter, the Rebbe brings in this amazing chiddush, and he says, one second, by the 4th chapter, he says, one second, we still took an oath to be a tzaddik. In the beginning, it says we should be a tzaddik. So all of us took this oath. All of us, before we were born, we took we said we were going to at least try. So the Rebbe says it doesn't hurt to try. We should at least try to as much as, yes, we can conquer. We have within our full power and potential to conquer, which means throughout your entire day, you can actually have full control over your thoughts, your speech, and your actions. And you can. It's hard sometimes, and we have to work on it, and it's a work in progress. We're working on it, but you can have full control. And then we said, but that said, we should also work towards having, towards elevating our emotions. Doesn't mean we're going to have full control over them. No, there's going to be times where we're going to, get into ruts, and there's going to be times where chas v'shalom, we're going to get challenges, and it's going to be challenging to maintain that level. That said, we can have full control. So again, we can conquer Yericha, we can conquer our thoughts, our speech, and our action. The rest of the land, we can try and do what we can. That's what we're doing now. We're counting Sfira. We're counting Sfira Sa'aymer. We go through each one of the middays. We try and work on it, and it's a beautiful process. We should try it. Now, the next section, which we finished off yesterday, is one of my favorites because it kind of goes into this concept more deeply about our thought, speech, and our action being our garments, right? So yesterday I was wearing a different outfit. I was wearing a different shirt. I was wearing a different skirt. I was wearing different things. And as much as I have to wear clothes, I'm not going to not wear clothes, chas v'shalom. We have to, for the level of tznius and for the level of protection, whether you're hot or you're cold, you have to wear clothes, right? That said, which choice of clothing you pick, that makes a difference. That choice of clothing, that makes a difference. And it will impact you. What you choose to wear will make an impact on your life as a whole, on the outcome of your day. So for some people, we're in quarantine, and I'm going to use a grub example, but we're in quarantine. It's like there was a joke going around, that Rosh Chodesh, it's like wear your because in schools they send out this message like, oh, white shirt day, like the kids are meant to be wearing, especially boys. I mean, I think girls also do, but I only have boys. So boys, they wear white button downs on Rosh Chodesh. So it's really cute. And so the schools send out these messages saying like, oh, white shirt day reminder, white shirt day reminder. So since quarantine, now it's been like white PJ reminder, like everyone should wear their PJ because we're all wearing PJs anyway. We're at home. Who cares? There was my husband was telling me that he saw somewhere that I think according to like Target or Gap or one of these like, I don't know, clothing stores, that they had like after going into quarantine, they had a huge peak in people buying nice shirts, but they had a drop in people buying nice pants or skirts. So it's like we're all putting on this nice shirt so that it looks nice on our Zoom meeting, but like really we're just wearing our pajama whatever bottoms, So again, what we choose to wear does make a difference, and that choice is so important that we should think about it. And it's funny because it seems grub. It's a garment. It's whether it's a physical garment or it's just your thought, your speech, and action. It's not your internal workings. You're not working per se. I mean, according to what we're saying now, it's not like you're really perfecting your emotions and your psychological makeup and da da da. You're just perfecting your garments, which seemingly, it's to a lesser degree of importance. That said, our garments, even our Gashmi's garments, make a huge difference. And that's actually the video that I want to show today. So we're going to start with this video. There we go. So I wanted to show this video because I want to really depict that the point that the Maamer is trying to make, we have to realize that it's true in every sense of our lives. I mean, here we're talking about the garments of our thoughts, our speech, and our action, and those are true. Literally, the way you speak to yourself, the way you speak to others, the way you change your mindset, like actually joining a shiur, which helps you. And again, welcome to our logo. Our whole logo is this concept of putting on your Hashem glasses so you have a different perspective over the world. Seeing the world through Hashem's viewpoint by learning Chassidus actually changes the outcome in your life. It really, truly does. What did they do for this man? Essentially, just changed his clothes, just, gave him a haircut, helped him out just the drop in that seemingly external thing. They didn't send him to therapy. They didn't send him to, a religious leader who's going to come and give him meaning and purpose in life or whatever. They just changed his clothes. But just changing your clothes can actually be one of the most powerful things you do. I won't say that's the end of it. And again, that's why at the end of the video, it said he actually ended up making different decisions because of it. And so that next step of making different decisions, making that step forward to really take this, which seems external, and make it internal, you have to take that step. But the beginning is changing your garments. So on the one hand, we're saying, internally, I mean, choose to speak differently to yourself. Choose to think differently about what's true, what's not true. Most of our lives, it's funny, it was very interesting. Yesterday, I had someone who usually just messages me. She said, hi, when you have a second, can you please call me? And I literally started going through all the horror, what could possibly be going on so wrong that she needs me to actually call her. Nowadays, everything is, a WhatsApp, a message, a text, an email, that I actually have to call her. And I started doomsday, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong that she's so upset she needs to speak to me in person? And in reality, she just needed some help with something that was very not a big deal. And I understood why it was a private matter, but in the end, it wasn't such a big deal. So again, most of our lives, I spent probably an hour stressing out about what could possibly be so wrong. Whereas meanwhile, that was a choice I made with my thoughts. I chose to think about the worst case scenario, chas v'shalom, and it wasn't. Baruch Hashem, it wasn't. So we can choose, and most of our lives is choosing how we process what's actually happening. And again, you've heard me say this 1.5 million times, but the word assumption is a bad thing. We can't assume things because lav dafka, they're right, that maybe your assumption is actually more painful and more hurtful for you. So again, here we're talking about those things, but in the same lesson, we need to realize that how we choose to dress ourselves is not just for somebody else. It's for ourselves. We need to choose, and it's little things. It could be a nicer cardigan, or it could be, a piece of jewelry. If you feel a lot more special and you feel a lot more chashuv, not chashuv in, gaivatik way, but like you feel like you're a true Bas Melech Panima, a true representative of the Rebbe. You are a shlucha of Hashem in this world, and those are the clothes that you wear. Perfect. That's exactly what it's meant to, because it will affect the way you live your life. It will make that difference. So again, I'm not saying rake up your bill with whatever clothing store, but I'm just saying make decisions that really impact you for the positive. Okay. And with that, let's get started on Vav, Ais Vav. Okay. So let's do this. It can be said, so we're on page 34 of our Sefer. Okay, sublime origins. It can be said that that thought, speech, and deed are garments, is also one of the reasons that the experiences of thought, speech, and deed matters more than that of the emotions. In other words, the fact that the main thing demanded by every person is the service of controlling thought, speech, and deed is not only because they are in man's control, as mentioned above, but also because they matter more. So 1 second. We could walk around saying, you know what? I'm a second-class citizen. First-class citizens are tzaddikim, and they get to conquer their emotions. Me, I only get my thought, speech, and action. It's like Hashem threw me the dregs. Like, whatever, I'm just not. I'm a second-class citizen. I can't really accomplish that much, so Hashem gave me like the easy stuff. No. What the Rebbe is saying here is Hashem gave it to us because it is one of the most important things that we can do. Okay? Because they matter, as it says here, because they matter more. This will be understood by introducing an off-cited concept regarding the garments, namely that the root of the garments transcends the root of the person wearing them. Okay? So 1 second, let's read that one more time because I want to make sure you understand this. This will be understood by introducing an off-cited concept regarding the garments, namely that the root of the garments transcends the root of the person wearing them. So on the one hand, you can't say that these thoughts or the way I speak or my actions are higher than me. What do you mean? It's my essence. I am higher than them. But the root of them is higher in a certain sense, and we'll understand that. This primordial superiority is apparent even in the earthly state of the garments. Thus, the garments surround the person and grant him additional beauty and splendor. Thus, Rabbi Yochanan would call his clothing those that honor me, because in their source, they transcend the person, right? So we can understand that in essence, in a certain sense, the garments can be greater than us. Why? Because they're not actually inside of us. They're so great that they stay outside. They surround us. They envelop us. Similarly, with regard to the garments of the soul, thought, speech, and deed, that the root of the garments transcends the soul. Page 36. Therefore, through the thought, speech, and deed of the 613 mitzvahs, which are garments of the divine soul, the soul is elevated beyond its natural level. So in a certain sense, this is going to go into a deeper explanation. With Hashem, tomorrow, we're going to... so tomorrow we're going to get more into a deeper explanation about this. But for the time being, what we're saying is that these garments, as much as they seem, minimal, in reality, their source is higher than us to a certain extent. Their source is higher, and so therefore they're able to change a really deep impact in us. Just like this guy, he was really, really struggling with a lot of harsh struggles in his life, but in reality, just changing his clothes, just changing his externals, seemingly, it made such a deep impact internally. So too for us. On the one hand, it seems like, oh, whatever, what difference does it make? I'll just wear my, a sloppy sweater, and who cares? I mean, unless it's like a statement that makes you feel amazing. But like I'll wear my PJs all day, who cares? But in reality, we should realize that as much as those things are minimal, they seemingly don't make such a difference. Our garments do make a difference on us. The way we dress, the way we perceive ourselves through the way we dress. And also internally through our thoughts, our speech, and our actions. The actions we choose to make, what difference does it make? I mean, and I guess I spoke about this. What difference do we make in this world? What difference does it make if I choose to use my time wisely, if I don't choose to use my time wisely, or if I choose to be, speak nicely to my roommate or my friend, speak nicely to my parents, speak nicely to my spouse, my children? What difference does it make? Who cares? But it does make a difference. Not only does it make a difference for somebody else, it makes a difference for you, because these garments that you choose to shed and put new ones and shed and put new ones, they actually come from a very high source. So it's not a second class citizen thing that we just get like, whatever. You're not a tzaddik. You can't quite manage to figure out your emotions. So therefore, at least work on this like minimal thing. No, the Rebbe explains it's a very high thing. It comes from an even higher source. Okay. Conversely, I'm going to skip the brackets. Okay. So continuing on, the last paragraph in the main text on page 36. Conversely, through the thought, speech, and deed of worldly matters, which are not performed for the sake of heaven, in other words, the garments of the animal soul suffers a descent that it exceeds its natural lowness. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, good, great. We have a bit of time. Let's take a moment and discuss this a bit more. So here we are, and we're saying that the essence of these garments actually come from a higher place than the essence of our soul, so to speak. And it's really funny because it doesn't seem to make sense, but it goes to prove that when we choose to wear the right garments, we're actually helping elevate ourselves, because we are connecting to something that's of a higher essence, of a higher source. And so too, chas v'shalom, and it's very interesting to see, because I think we learned in Pirkei Avos last week or this past Shabbos, I'm pretty sure it was last Shabbos, that our neighbors and our friends and who the people we surround ourselves with actually make an impact on us. So on the one hand, it seemingly doesn't make sense what we surround ourselves with, whether it's a piece of clothing, whether it's our thought, our speech, our action, those things that we surround ourselves with, or whether it's literally people or environments that we put ourselves next to or within. They don't seem to make sense why it makes such an impact on us. Who cares? We are chelik elokayim mamish. We are totally pure and special. And what difference does it make what's around us? But meanwhile, these things that surround us, which are seemingly on a lower level, come from a higher source. So when you choose to surround yourself with positive things, that higher source actually helps pull you up as well with it. So for example, I've seen people that, in seminary, they're fully surrounded by this holy environment. They're taking classes and all their friends are, after class, they're having discussions about the class or about the learning or and they're surrounded by that. And so therefore, we are lifted in a certain sense into this higher level. On the other hand, some people, and for a lot of people, it's a very terrifying move to Crown Heights as a single girl or a single woman, because you don't know what you're going to be surrounded with, and you have to be very careful what roommates you choose. Baruch Hashem, I think everyone I know here, Baruch Hashem, has amazing roommates, and it's a beautiful surrounding, and I'm very, very happy about that. But it's a tough decision to make, because if the surroundings that you put yourself in are actually not coming from a higher source, they're surrounding, but they're coming from they're not such a positive surrounding, it does make an effect, and it does pull ourselves down. It pulls us down. So again, you could, and again, this is a discussion for you and your mashpia, and you figure out it's your job to be the shlucha in such a situation. I'm not saying live in a bubble the rest of your life, but just be conscious of that your surroundings, the things that technically, so to speak, are not internal, they're surround you, just like thought, speech, and action, your clothing, all these things, they do make an effect and they do make an impact. And with that, I think we're gonna finish off. We're gonna stop for today. Tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, we're gonna discuss this a little bit more depth, and we will finish our Maamer be'ezras Hashem. Okay. As for the next Maamer, I will be making an announcement today, tonight, and tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I found something, and I'm very, 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 very excited about it. So, can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Mitzvah Hashem.